hopefully that helps to clear up a few things there, Keith. But great for that feedback. This is what I think is great for us to have these little conversations on a Wednesday morning. And right, we're going to go live now. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube. I want to focus on rhythm today, but also just for that conversation that Keith has just touched on a little bit there in our Zoom catch up. I'll highlight little pointers on that as well, even as we go through the session. So finding your comfortable space, your space around you, making sure that you've got space to the sides and to the back. Let me just go there. So space there, space there. And let's take our feet shoulder width apart. As always, we're going to start off with mobility. So just warming up the joints, warming up the muscles, warming up the fascia. Feet shoulder width apart. A little bit of knocking. Tall through the spine. Keep lifting and lengthening through the spine. Bring your awareness to that top of the spine between the shoulder blades, that first part of the upper back there, and just feel the rotation through that part of the spine as well. That can be where it can tend to get a little bit sticky. And we were just chatting in our Zoom session there about breath being a mirror to our internal environment, our external environment. And just as an example of that, I'm just thinking of the other morning when I went out for a run, the temperature had shot up quite a bit. So of course, heart rate would be up a little bit, breath rate would be up a little bit. So if I was literally just judging my performance on pace, then either to keep that same pace, I'd have had to push a little bit harder, so more effort level. Or if I'm focusing on effort level, I'll just have to reduce the pace a little bit. So that was a very obvious example of environment affecting, external environment affecting our breath, our heart rate, etc. And then if you think about internal environment, if we're really stressed, if we had a bad night's sleep, that's going to affect how we breathe, affect heart rate. So we have to take those things into consideration as well. Hormones will affect breath rate, heart rate, hydration, what you've eaten, and movement. So sometimes it's not appropriate to change the way we're breathing, or we're not able to do that. And if we force it, then it can just maybe not be the right thing to do. And again, just as a brief example of that, I remember when I had COVID, because my body was fighting the infection, literally my heart rate was a little bit higher, but I couldn't change heart rate variability, i.e. the spaces between each breath, each heartbeat, by using breath. Couldn't do it. Wouldn't slow the heart rate down when I did an exhale or a longer exhale or a hold. And therefore, at that time, it would have been more effort and using more energy to do that rather than just let things naturally improve. And then slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down. So notice now When we just come to a stand, just to a stop, palms open, notice how the breath will respond to the movement. So just letting the breath naturally settle. And you might feel, we haven't done loads of movement there, but you might feel that you need that little bit of a fuller breath and to let go. And what that is doing is it's raising the heart rate a little bit. And then because we're doing a little bit of a pause at the top and an exhale, it's lowering the heart rate. So it's another really good way of just bringing the body back into balance. And then let's breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Now here, we are using the breath and movement to have an effect on the internal estate. So we're breathing in slowly. We're breathing out slowly. So we're deliberately sending that signal to the brain. So all's good, let's just calm the nervous system down, rebalance, and then have a little bit of a shake. And as we're having this little bit of a shake, just tapping both heels into the ground, so we're getting that little bit of vibration through the body, and shaking the wrists, relaxing the shoulders. Just focus on the rhythm. What's the rhythm of the breath? What's the rhythm of the movement? Settle into the rhythm. And maybe you can have a little play around with the rhythm of the breath. So maybe you were breathing in 2, 3, out 2, 3. I'm not suggesting that's what you should be doing, but say you were. See if you can just breathe in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. Just play around with the rhythm of the breath, the rhythm of the movement. If you're starting to get any tightness or pain anywhere, obviously stop. If your calves are starting to get a little bit tight, you can just keep the heels on the floor, just use the wrists. If you have any knee pain, hip pain, etc., obviously you just stop. And then take a nice full breath and let go. Slow it down, open up. Again, now notice how that breath is responding to what we've just done, the movement you've just done. And then taking the hips back a little bit, bending the knees. We're working on that pelvic movement. So we're working pelvis, tucking under, tilting, And then we're doing that with spinal cord. So here we're breathing with the movement, breathing in, and then tucking under, breathing out. And again, just have in mind the rhythm. So if it helps just to count softly in your mind, that's fine. But some way of focusing on the rhythm of the movement. Let's do 2 more. And then take a moment standing tall. Again, if you want to open up across the chest, just palms facing forwards. That's the opening is from the shoulder. So I'm not just twisting my hands forwards, I'm opening from the shoulder. So you'll feel that little bit of openness, stretch if you like, across the collarbone. And then your elbow pits and your palms face forward, as nice and tall through the spine. Placing one hand on the hip, the other hand facing out, so teacup. And again, just making sure you're nice and stable on the feet, softness in the knees. Remember, we're leading from the center and the hip. So I'm not just using my arm to do weird things like that. I'm going hip, back, hip comes to the side, hips come forwards and around. So it's imagining you're holding a teacup on the palm of your hand. You cannot drop that. So the palm of the hand has to face upwards throughout the whole movement. And again, get into that flow and rhythm. And then take a rest. And we'll swap sides. So hand on the hip, other palm out. Lead with the hips, so hips leading. Does it feel different one side to the other? Really stretching the fingers out. And let's do one more. Come to rest. Shake. Shaking the shoulders. Let's do some tigers. So claws, make sure your feet shoulder width apart. A little bit of turnout. Hips glide back. Remember, chest stays lifted. So keep looking forwards. I'm not tilting my chest towards the ground. I am tilting at the hips, but I'm not going down like this. I'm looking forwards. I've been doing some slightly faster paced mile interval trainings, and I can really feel my legs. Oh, I can really feel my quads and my hamstrings today. Getting too old for this. Breathing easy. Debbie's iPad's following you as well. It's good actually that it follows you, so you don't just disappear off the screen. Let's do a couple more. Going that little bit lower if you can without pushing it, without straining. And shake, shake, shake. Again, notice how that breath catches up, the heart rate catches up. So just staying calm, letting that breath naturally settle. If you feel you need to take a fuller breath, a little calm, full breath, little hold, let go, it's absolutely fine. And as that breath is catching up, feel it coming low into the ribs. Again, you can pop your hands on the ribs or in the thumbs on the back of the ribs. So in a standing position, this is much more appropriate to feel the breath here rather than it pushing the belly out. Again, this just goes back to what we were talking about in the Zoom chats, is that obviously if you're lying on the floor, when you breathe in and the diaphragm moves down, your belly's going to rise up. But if you're standing, we need a certain amount of tension, engagement here, I'm not pulling everything in, we're not tightening everything up. But when that breath goes low and we're standing, you're going to feel it more here and in the back as well. So feel that breath low. Remember when we've done all the focus of the breath low into the pelvic floor as well. So you can still get that satisfying, deep breath standing. Have a little shake out. Let's do a little bit of plyometrics, so a little bit of bouncing. Again, just be really careful with this, because if you've got ankle issues, knee issues, hip issues, I don't want you to injure yourself. So take responsibility, be comfortable in what you're doing. But that first point, think of it as sort of like that fascial bounce. Firstly, we just raise onto the bubbling spring. So our heels are coming off the ground. I'll show you from the side. I'm not too high up, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a bounce in that position. So I'm not using my ankles, I'm not doing raising up and down, I'm not doing calf raises as such. I'm on the bubbling spring and I'm just doing a little bit of a bounce. And don't worry if you rock back a little bit or need to put the heels on the ground a little bit, but just settle into the rhythm. Notice if there's any difference side to side. My right foot doesn't want to play today. It's having to do a little bit more focusing. And then slow it down and shake out. So you should feel the calves working a little bit there, but it's that idea of just getting the fascia through the whole body, tense in the right way, the right amount of tensegrity, the right amount of tension. We don't want to be so tight that everything's locked, and we don't want to be so floppy that it's just like a flat beach ball. So let's do that again, just raising onto the bubbling spring, and then quick bounces. Remember, it always helps to think of lifting from the crown of the head. Shoulders relaxed, shoulders down. Settle into the rhythm. Oh, fell over. Feel that elasticity through the legs, through the calves, through the ankles, all the way through, lengthening up rib cage. And then shake out. You'll see when you go out and you watch people moving, even just walking, not necessarily running, but I think running is a good example, is you'll watch some people running and they just look effortless. It's just really easy. They just flow. And then you see others, it's like hard work. They're really muscling and everything is flat and collapsing to the ground. And that's again because of this elasticity. You want that natural elasticity in terms of efficiency of movement. You don't want to be muscling through or pushing or forcing through. Let's go back to that little bit of a bounce. We're going to go on the ball of the foot. You can either stay as we just did there, or if you want to add, just off the ground a little bit. And again, just go really careful with this. If you've got any ankle issues, make sure you're about hip width apart. And breathing. And feel that elasticity. Keep tall through the spine. It's a bit like pogo sticking. Feel how you absorb the force as you land on the ground. And that force is pushed, brought back, and that creates that energy up. Watch that you're not locking the arms out or anything like that. Let the arms relax, the shoulders relax. If you need to take a fuller breath, you can take a fuller breath. Ah. And then slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Come to a stop and have a good shake out. You might feel the tingling sensations through the calves. Just stand for a moment. Nice and solid on the ground. Notice how the breath recovers. If you feel you want to take that fuller breath and let go. Breathing in. Looking up, opening up the chest, breathing out. And then just interlinking, thumbs resting on the lower abs, bringing the feet together. Closing your eyes, just giving yourself a moment. Again, just to notice how the breath settles, the body finds its natural balance without any interference. And now taking a calm, full breath in. Stepping out, opening your eyes, giving yourself a little brush down, letting the breath go. And we will finish there. Have a little play around with rhythm. Think as you're moving through your day, as you're moving through the week and the weekend, how important rhythm is to movement, is to breath, and is to the rhythm of the day, etc. So take that with you, hopefully, from today's session. I know we've gone past 8:30, but just a quick highlight that there's going to be some exciting new additions to these Breathe, Balance, Move classes. So if you're a member of the Zoom group, if you subscribe to the Zoom group, I'm going to make sure we do those monthly free classes. So put a date for your diary, which is the 31st, if I can speak, 31st of May. It's a Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to do our next monthly free class. I'll send you a link to that and more details to that. And there's also going to be some more options because we are creating an app which is going to be part of the Breathe, Balance, Move program as well. So I'll be looking for some beta testers on the app as well. So if you're interested in that, let me know on that. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, please do, as always, get in contact. Otherwise, I will see you. Julie just waved by. Otherwise, I will see you on Monday, and look out for emails and messages about that class on the 31st. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye. Bye.